Greetings and welcome to my channel. My name is Brene and I am the host of Act 2 Life After 50. Those of you who have followed me know that I don't put on videos all the time, but when something comes into my mind, into my heart that I want to share, then that's when I do a video. So the purpose of this channel is to focus on issues and things that relate to folks over 50. So I touch on a variety of things, everything from retirement. I have a series called My Retirement Journey. I'll be retiring in 4 months. Raising your adult, not raising, but dealing with your adult children. Just whatever is happening in the traveling, which I love to travel, but COVID has put sort of like a stop on that. Anyway, so that's what this channel is. So I hope that you find it engaging. That's all I want is engaging. So before we get into our topic for today, I just want to invite you to subscribe. There's a red button somewhere on the screen to subscribe. That if you press the notification bell, you'll get a notification because I don't do videos every week. I'm not doing this to monetize, as they say. I'm just doing this because it's a great way to connect with a community of folks of like-mindedness and like age and all that good stuff. So if you'll do that, I would greatly appreciate it. And like the video. I also found out that that matters. When you like the video, then the algorithm, I don't know what that actually is, but I hear that's what makes people be able to find the videos. Then it moves them up in the line or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, if you'll just do that, I'd really appreciate it. So today the topic is I think this is going to be a multi-series as well. And it's called My 60-Year-Old Health Journey. So I want to start off with a disclaimer. I'm not a healthcare physician. I'm not a guru on health and eating and nutrition. I'm not a geek about health. I'm just living my life. I'm just a woman who is well into the middle of her 60s. And it's just becoming more and more apparent to me that if I don't do more about my health, it could impact my quality of life later on. So I'm also a woman who believes that it's never too late to make a change, especially a positive change. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm going to just tell you a little bit about my journey and maybe you can relate to it. But first of all, do not consider this any medical advice. Seek your physician for all changes and all things that you want to do in terms of health. Do not listen to me or anybody else like me who doesn't have I have a doctorate degree, but it is not in medicine. So pay that no attention. So those who know me know that I've been on this sort of a supplement kick. So I take vitamin supplements, and I've been doing that for about 5 years when I found out that vitamin D was so needed and many African Americans lack the appropriate amount of vitamin D. So I kind of started dealing with supplements about 5 years ago. So I have previous videos where I've talked about all the different supplements I use, and that's all good. But right before my 65th birthday, I decided that I was going to really do a deep dive into my health. So I went to a functional medicine doctor, and they did a battery of tests on things I didn't even know doctors test on. Regular doctors, general practitioners, internists in a traditional medicine just don't even check these things. They found out everything about me. They tested, like I said, my hormones. They had like spit tests. They had all kinds of things to just see where my body was. And when we got back the results, the test revealed some things that I knew, some things that I didn't know. But several of the things that they found out were having to do with degeneration. Some of that degeneration was due to age. But that can be worked on. Anyway, that's another part of the story. Then another part of it is stress. After talking to the clinician, we talked about how stress can impact so many functions of the body. And I'm sort of a type A. If you know me, I'm a type A type of girl. And so stress is something I'm constantly dealing with. And there'll be some more videos. And there's a lot of people who can talk about the whole science of stress and how it breaks out. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying that stress was one of my issues. Poor nutrition. And I specifically didn't say poor eating habits because it wasn't the eating habits as much as the nutrition of the food I was eating. It was lacking. And therefore that saying you are what you eat is for real, for real. And so I wasn't eating the right things. And so my body wasn't getting the amount of nutrition, and then lack of sleep. So that's another thing. And many years recently, because of stress, I think a great deal, my sleep hasn't been, I haven't been getting good sleep. And all of those things sort of impacted my health. So I found out some things. One of the things that I found out, my regular practitioner, my general internist had told me I had high cholesterol and that I was pre-diabetic. And I just said, I bind both of those. I am not. I bind those things in the name of Jesus. I'm not. But you got to do some other things. Instead of just binding, you got to take some action. So the test revealed that, in fact, I did not have high cholesterol. It's a long story about how they look at the flakes in your cholesterol, whether they're big or small or whatever. Anyway, so I didn't have bad cholesterol. So that was good. My hormones were all out of balance. And so that was something that I didn't actually know was the case, which could make you tired, fatigue, could make you susceptible to stress issues, and also could affect your sleep. So I'm like, oh, yeah, it makes sense. But in fact, I was pre-diabetic. And I was like, oh, my gosh, and so many people in my family have diabetes. I was just like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. And so my clinician wanted to do some things. She wanted to put me on some light hormone balancing things. So I agreed to that. But then she said she wanted me to go on a low carb diet, something like paleo, that's eating what the cavemen ate, or keto, which is like no carbs, hardly at all. And I basically said, after going through all of these tests and everything and wanting to do better, I just straight out told her no, just to her face. I said, no, I'm not doing that. And she's like, well, why? I know she wanted to say, crazy woman, you paying all this money, and why are you not going to do what I say you need to do? And I'm like, I know me, and I'm just not going to sustain that. And so I'm not going to say I'm doing something and I'm not going to sustain. And I kind of meant it. And then I said, okay, what things can I do? And yeah, I can take this, and yeah, I could do a little bit of that. But I just wanted to say that what it brought to mind was that saying that Mother Maya Angelou used to say, if you know better, you do better. That is just not the truth. You can know better and still not do better. And I am an example of that. But anyway, fast forward to this January. So if you are a part of any kind of faith community, especially Christian and maybe especially Black Christians, we always have a fast in January. So the church that I currently attend had a fast in January. But this year, the pastor focused on spiritual health and physical health. And so for the whole month, there were sermons and a daily devotional around our physical health. And shout out to New Life Church in Decatur, Georgia. That was during that time is when it really clicked. Through the preached word, through my experience, through the preached word of my clinician, it just kind of hit me that I was going to have to do better, that it wasn't good enough just to know better. I had to do better. And so the first thing I did was find out what causes diabetes. Like so many people, I have a brother who passed away from type 1 diabetes. My mother had type 2 diabetes. People in my family have had it. And I'm like, so I know everybody knows kind of what diabetes kind of is. But I'm like, what is it really? What's happening in my body to make that happen? And so I saw lots of videos, I read some things, and I'm not going to get into the nuts and bolts of it because I'm not qualified to do that. But I found out that there is this thing called insulin resistance. And again, I'm not going to break that down. I will just say this about it in lay person's language. It's when you ingest so much sugar and so much in the form of carbohydrates that your body cannot process it. And so most kind of people know that carbohydrates eventually turn into sugar or like a sugar-like substance. Anyway, it gets in your blood and it sort of poisons your blood in a way. I'll just use poison. It's probably not the right word. But anyway, it poisons your blood. So you have all this sugar that's kind of going through your blood. And that's not a good thing. And that means that so they have ranges. And then they have the normal range, and they have the pre-diabetic range of this sugar in your blood. And then they have the diabetes range. And so I was in the pre-diabetic range when I went to my doctor a couple of times actually, and I kept saying no, but I didn't do anything different. And so I figured out, so that's what it was, that my body was just not able to process. And you know, the sugar, if you go to the grocery store, look at 20 items, just randomly pick 20 items. I could almost bet you all 20, even if they're not a dessert or a sweet or something like that, they have sugar in there. They have grams, milligrams, whatever, of sugar, added sugar. So everything has got this sugar. Then the other thing is the carbohydrates that kind of turn to a sugar. So I began to get this picture, dang, I am consuming a lot of sugar. And so I decided to do something about that. The other thing that insulin resistance does, I'll just say this, I don't know a lot about it, but it also makes your body create fat, form fat, like, body fat. And this fat doesn't get burned off. It can't get burned off because you're insulin resistant. And so some of us say, oh, I don't eat that much, but I'm not losing weight. Well, your body might be in insulin resistance. And so your body's not able to process things properly. That's about as far and about as technical as I can get. And so that's another thing of like stubborn weight that won't come off, especially like mid belly fat kind of thing that won't come off. So I finally got it after watching video after video after video. And what I did was, so I had to do something different. So what I did differently is I just started ingesting information on insulin resistance and diabetes so that I could sort of, there's a scripture that says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so that's what I was doing. I was renewing my mind because remember, I'm the girl that said, I'm not doing that. I'm just not doing it. So I decided that based on all the information that I got is that I would go on a low carb, low sugar lifestyle. Not paleo exactly, not keto exactly, not keto, but that I would make a conscious lifestyle switch to cut sugar and cut carbs significantly in my diet. And so I have done that for the last 2 months. And I actually, and the other thing I do is intermittent fasting. Now I had tried that before to lose weight and it actually worked. But then like with most diety things you do to lose weight, I stopped doing it and the weight came back. So anyway, so that I made a commitment to intermittent fasting and I do 16 on, 8 off. That's another whole video if you want to know about that. Anyway, I do that. And then I do this low carb, low sugar thing. So from that day to this, I'm almost done. It's exciting to me because I've seen changes quickly. So what I have seen since I've kind of stuck with it, and I mean really stuck with it, and that's not that I don't have any carbs. I allow myself up to 100 grams of carbs a day from all forms. That's from a ketchup to some, because there's carbs in like everything. And so I started to look for different kinds of recipes and buying different food, substitute, not artificial because I do clean too. So I do organic. I don't eat food that's got a whole bunch of chemicals in it. So anyway, so what has happened is I've lost 3, 4, 5 pounds, somewhere in there, because I didn't actually take my weight at the beginning, but it's somewhere around there. And I bought a blood glucose monitoring little thing you can get online. I think I paid $16 for it. So I test my blood sugar, my fasting blood sugar in the morning and 2 hours after I eat. And my blood sugar is now at the top of the normal range, which from someone who for the last maybe year or two was in the pre-diabetic range. So I still haven't had the big test that the doctors do, the A1C test. But I am seeing some changes that I can actually monitor myself. And so it makes me feel really good that I can see some changes. So part of what this video channel is for is sort of like a community of like-mindedness, like I said. I'm not a guru on anything. I'm just sharing my experiences with you, whether it's about my retirement journey, my health journey, my traveling journey, and just to have a safe place to share that information and perhaps maybe even create a community of people when we talk back and forth. So if you want to talk back and forth, ask some questions about this experience, please, you can make a comment, at least for the week. I'll check my comments like every day for the next week or so. And if you make a comment, I will respond to it. I'd be happy to do that. And then the next thing that I find out in another month or two or whatever, I'll check in again. You are my accountability partner. Thank you. Take care.